have we here? Is it another typewriter? Well, of course, because I'm assuming you've already read the title, which is what's in the box, so, you know, why am I even wasting my time? What we have here is a pretty well-preserved portable typewriter made by Royal of the United States of America. Of course, what typewriter manufacturer wasn't manufacturing in the US of A back in the day? This is a portable typewriter. This is the type of typewriter that a journalist or a traveling salesperson actually I don't think they carried typewriters, but anyone who needed portability, this was the laptop of the time period. Time period being about the 1940s. This is a post-war model. This is actually a 1940, I want to say 47 to 48, somewhere in between there. And you know how I figured that out? There's a wonderful resource available to everyone on the web. The website is www.tw-db.com. Once again, www.tw-db.com. That is the typewriter database. The records were filled in from manufacturing logs and repair histories and receipts, and they assembled a list of from contributors all over the world. They figured out when each typewriter was manufactured based on the serial number range. It's a wonderful resource. I suggest you check it out if you haven't already. This typewriter was actually found in my late grandfather's shed. Didn't belong to my grandfather specifically. It belonged to his wife's mother, actually. And it was abandoned in the shed when we went over there to clean out, help clean out the home. He passed away just recently, right after Christmas, actually. So we're in the process of, getting rid of some of the stuff that was in his home and getting it either just thrown away or... But this typewriter appeared to be in the pile of stuff that was going to be thrown out, so I swooped in and I rescued it while I still could. Because there was no way I was going to throw away a perfectly good typewriter. I mean, this is a beautiful machine. It's complete. Comes with the original carrying case, and even has a little bit of history. This is actually what I found in the case here. This was probably typed sometime in the 1970s. But this is a letterhead for the business that was using the typewriter way back in the day. And because it has a 7-digit phone number, I'm going to say that is a fairly new sheet of paper. I mean, in other words, it's not from the 1940s, obviously. But anyway, where were we? This is what the database website looks like. It's pretty easy to navigate. And there we go, twdb.com. Great site. I suggest you go. I actually went upstairs to get a sheet of blank paper. And you've got to say hi to the frogs when you walk by them. Hi, frog. Okay, here we are. So, where do we begin? First thing I want to show you guys is where the serial number is located. To make this video a little easier, I'm not going to use a tripod, but I am going to remove the typewriter from the case. And that's accomplished by releasing these 4 little hasps. You're going to pick up the typewriter and plunk it down someplace else. Here's a good spot. Boom. Let's get the case out of our way. We don't need it for the rest of this video. Okay. I'm going to drag it over a little bit. Trying to scratch the new countertop. In the box, I also got it appears to be a brand new ribbon made by Columbia Ribbon and Cartridge Manufacturing. Oh, Carbon Manufacturing Co. Pretty nice. 2-color. Designed for the Royal number 10, black and red. Or that just might be the ribbon number. Sweet. Condition-wise, the typewriter is almost, it's perfect. There's nothing missing, nothing broken. The finish is a little discolored from sitting. It probably sat on a desk. The user probably smoked. I mean, it does have signs of tobacco exposure. It's full of dust. It needs to be cleaned. It needs to be lubricated. It basically needs a full restoration, and it's worth it. I mean, it's in beautiful shape. The real problem is these typewriters aren't rare at all, so they're not worth a lot of money. But that's okay. That's not why I do this. What I'm going to do is probably the wrong way to do it. I've looked online for different ideas as to how you can safely restore a vintage typewriter. And my method worked fine for my Underwood number 5, and it worked great for my Smith Corona. So what I'm going to do is bring this over to my parents' house, where there's a nice, beautiful, I think it's a 26-gallon air compressor, and we're going to blow all the dust out. All the dust. And then I'm going to lightly spray everything with a light lubricant, and with that kind of, well, that's not really the right way to do it. The right way would be to probably remove the mechanism and spray it down with parts cleaner. I really don't know the right way to do it, I'll be honest. Typewriters aren't nearly my thing. There are many ideas and opinions and thoughts and rules of thumb, and I actually had to remove a couple of typewriter videos because I was tired of getting bashed by the typewriter aficionados. You know what you're talking about. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You're doing it all wrong, or you're an asshole, or stuff like that. My IBM Selectric video, which I just did for fun, I took this IBM Selectric from the dump. It was already trashed. Somebody cut the cord off. Whatever. So I brought it home, and I started playing with it. I learned how the mechanism worked, but I couldn't explain it because I have a hard time explaining things that I don't fully understand. Most people have that problem. And this guy just tore me a new one. I did destroy the typewriter, yes, but who the hell cares about a late 70s electromechanical typewriter? It's not like it's on every kid's Christmas list. You don't see them in antique shops yet, and you probably never will, because they're really just for business use. They're not designed to be ornate. People buy antiques like this because they look good. You put this on a shelf, you know, clean it up, put it on a shelf, it looks nice. The IBM Selectric, not so much. I mean, it has its own unique design. It looks really 70s. But ultimately, it's not a collector's item. But anyway, this guy just completely went off his rocker on me. So I'm like, you know what? And just delete the damn video. I wasn't getting a lot of views on it, so... Why are we talking about the IBM Selectric? We're here to talk about the Royal. So, plan of action. I'm going to blow all the dust out with the compressed air. And I'm going to have to figure out a way to clean and lubricate the mechanism. Let me show you what I mean. Now, this is usually what happens to old typewriters when they've been sitting around for a while. They are mechanical devices. Here's an even easier example. The tab stops on this typewriter are in the back. Tab stops, basically the same function as Microsoft Word's tab setting. You can set your default tab to whatever spacing you wish. In the old days, you had these little buttons back here. In this case, it's buttons. Sometimes they're levers. Sometimes it's a little knob you unscrew and slide. This one happens to have 4 tab stops. And they're completely frozen on the rail. I can just barely move them. You push them in, and then you slide them. The problem is, they're so gummed up that they just don't want to move. So that would require taking the rail apart, cleaning it with like WD-40 and steel wool, using 0000 steel wool. Does a great job of cleaning chrome. It'll also clean your tab stop rails. I'm going to give you an example of this. So the platen itself is in good shape. It's hard, but it's still in good shape. There are no cracks. That's a good thing, because there's only one company in the world left doing restorations on platens. And it looks like the feed rollers might be worn or dried out, because it has a hard time grabbing the paper, as you can clearly see. This bar moves forward, so you can wrap the paper around the platen. Pretty cool. Nice. Start over. Boom. Okay, now watch what happens when I start typing. It sticks. And that's going to require some reconnaissance. It does work. That's the good thing. But pressing the keys, it's kind of sticky. You know, it's very sticky. And watch this. And like many old typewriters that have been sitting, their lubrication all gummed up. Sometimes the what do we call this? The carriage, the cradle, the platen assembly. What happens is when you press a button, it releases it one space. Pretty much, you get what that does. When they wear out, not wear out, but when they gum up, the mechanism, the ratcheting mechanism, will often skip spaces. And it jams. Typical. It just needs lubrication. I mean, this mechanism works okay. But other than that, we've got some problems. Now, this is how you switch the ribbon color. This is overlay or carbon copy. You've got black and you've got red. And that all seems to work okay. Still, but look at this. The ribbon gets stuck. Once again, lubrication problem. Nothing broken, just needs to be maintained. Now let's take a look at some of the other functions. Now on this typewriter, and like almost every gauze type ribbon typewriter, the ribbon can be reversed basically by pressing this lever, moving this lever to the side. So if you'll notice right now it's some light there. Going in that direction. If I flip the lever the other way, it goes in that direction. So it's reversible. Touch control is under the cover here, and this controls the amount of tension on the keys depending on how your typing style is. This is a light setting, and I can't open it with the move it to a heavy setting. Again, this is really gummed up like nobody's business. Much heavier key weight. Not really that noticeable, but it is noticeable. This lever here, or this little lever, yes, this is what unlocks the platen, so you can move it freely. This is your roller tension. With this lever moved forward, there is no traction. I guess you'd call it a traction adjustment. My terms may be wrong, by the way, so if you're writing a paper, you should do your own research. But right now, it's having a difficult time tracking the paper. Taking the rollers off, basically you've got to remove the platen assembly. There's a set of rollers behind it that should be serviced. That's really why it's doing that. And lubrication issues. This button here frees up the roll completely, temporarily, and this locks it free. No, not that one, this one. Okay, locks it free. Then you press this in for temporary movability. Of course, we know this is our spacing. 1 space, 2 spaces. So this is a 1 or a 2. Not as fancy as my Smith Corona was, and not as fancy as the Underwood number 5, which has multiple spacing settings. My Smith Corona would do, I believe it did 4, 2, or 1, or 0. It was like 4 settings. This is our margin release, and it's actually here. This sets our margin. Oh, that's kind of fancy. So if I hold this towards me, let's start over. Let's say I want my margin right in the middle. Hold this towards me. Okay, good. Now, that didn't work. Now if I do that, roll it forward, my margin is here. Okay, if I do this, oh, I hear it. It's a spring-loaded, and it's stuck. But now my margin's here. If I do this, let's say I want it here. See if it moves. Again, lubrication. Lubrication. That's what she needs. That's what she said. Alright, I won't say that. Tab. Our tab stops are in the middle there. And again, it's all gum to hell, so she needs work. Needs a full restoration. Can we do it? Yes. Yes, we can. We're Bob the Builder. Yes, we are. Here's the tab release in action. You can see how it's spring-loaded. And it goes as far as 3 inches in, it looks like. That's where it stops. And when we set that, let's if we release it, boom. I hope you guys are getting this because I'm not explaining it very well. But if I want my margin here, I just hit the margin, and it's supposed to slide wherever I want it to. If I move this in a little more, okay, so it does go all the way. Nice. It just needs a little help. Now I can't move this over anymore. Here's another one. This is our left margin, or right margin adjustment, I think. But it's all sticky and gummy. It looks like it's supposed to move, but it doesn't want to. So, that's how you access it. Open this door. Probably needs a little work. Like everything else. That's pretty much it, guys. Not much else to show you. Let's take the ribbon off. No, let's not. I don't want to open that can of worms. But I do want to show you where the serial number is. Right in here. If you have one of these, serial number is located right in here. And that's usually where I find them on typewriters. Right underneath the plating somewhere. But you can clearly see there's a lot of dust packed in there. Dust and oil don't mix. Or I should say they mix a little too well and they create a substance known as gummy crap. That's the technical term, gummy crap. And WD-40 is a lifesaver when you have to remove that stuff cleanly, and using a lint-free Q-tip, like a medical grade Q-tip. You can get them from any place that sells medical supplies. But these little Q-tips that don't leave fibers everywhere, they work great. They usually have wooden sticks. You can use them for cleaning heads. You can also use them for cleaning typewriter pieces without fully dismantling it. But this one might need to be, I hate to say it, But this typewriter might need to have the ribbons removed and anything that might be ruined by parts cleaner, like rubber parts, and just dunked in a tank of parts cleaner, because, well, all I can say is at least the type bars aren't bent. Everything is working. There's nothing disconnected. Every key works. Shift lock. That works okay. The keys are, by the way, the keys are all intact. I believe these are celluloid, like my other typewriters are. The problem with celluloid keys, and being 1947, mid-40s, they probably are celluloid. Celluloid shrinks. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Celluloid was one of the first clear plastics. Actually, it was one of the first plastics ever created. And they used to use it in the film industry. It's highly flammable, and it degrades. It actually starts to shrink and crack and discolor. The keyboard on this one is in beautiful shape. I'm just thanking my lucky stars that it is in the shape it's in. Because if it wasn't, that's just not good. Hipsters love these because they rip the keys off and make jewelry out of them. It's sad. Save the typewriters. That's what I say. I was going to say kill a hipster, but that's not very nice. Hipsters deserve to live. As rude and mean as they are to old stuff. So that concludes our video. I like the space bar. It's a really nice design. Almost, I want to say not Art Deco, but Frank Lloyd Wright-ish. I love it. This is classic 1940s. Even the coloring, the gray and the black, just a very beautiful machine. I may not restore it at all. I may just put it on display at work somewhere, put it on my desk as a remembrance of days gone by. And on that note, oh, and for those of you wondering about value, if you're looking to get rich, don't get into the typewriter business unless you're finding rare machines. Just, if you're collecting antiques, collect them because you like them, not because you're going to get rich. Typewriters, you're not going to get rich on because there's so many of them. Remember, these were used by almost everyone who has ever written anything without writing it on pen and paper. Basically, any secretary, every writer, every journalist, every novelist, even households, college students, typewriters are not a rarity, but they're cool. They're really cool because they still work. They're purely mechanical, and they're just so fun to look at. I mean, this is a more modern design, but this old Underwood number 5, which is about 20 years older than that one, is a much more ornate design, and I think it's damn beautiful. Not worth a lot of money. No, I paid $75 for this, but it's the coolest damn thing. Just very, very intricate, very nice to look at. They even exposed the mechanics of the typewriter because they were so beautiful. But again, if you're collecting antiques, typewriters, you're just not going to get rich on, unless it's a rare model or owned by Ernest freaking Hemingway. It's like a $25 to $100 device.